We are all shaped by the people we're around, the places we've been, and the decisions we've made, even the ones that felt so small at the time. If someone was to ask me, who am I today? I would say I'm still figuring it out, but I've come a long way. This psychobiography is more than just a school project. It's a reflection of the moments that helped shape my personality, identity, and growth. I've learned how personal our development really is. So, this is my story, not just of growing up, but becoming Lauren, a girl who has learned to own her voice, embrace change, and keep evolving, even when the path isn't clear. So, let's rewind and take a look back of how it all began. Growing up as the youngest and the only girl in the family, I was truly the princess of the house. My dad always told me I could have whatever I wanted, and my brothers followed his lead, always looking out for me. That kind of love gave me a strong sense of confidence early on. But even with all that attention, I loved being by myself. I was quiet and independent, and I thrived in solitude. Some of my favorite moments are the times I spent getting lost in my own world, painting my nails, doing DIY projects, doing flips in the backyard, skating, singing, and dancing around the house. This is when my personality really started to show bold, creative, and expressive. Freud's psychoanalytic theory would say that during this time, I was navigating my unconscious desires, especially my love for beauty and creativity, and finding ways to express them in ways that felt safe and accepted. These traits also show up in the Big Five personality test that I took when I scored a high in openness, especially in artistic desires. I scored an 82 out of 100. So it kind of just goes to prove that at a young age, I was finding ways to explore my imagination. Spending more time with my brothers, I naturally started to adapt to their world. I call this my tomboy era. This was the first time I realized that identity isn't just one dimensional, and I could still be the creative girl who loved girly things and the one who could still hoop. And honestly, my personality was shifting too. I had always been an introvert. I loved doing things on my own, but constantly being around my extroverted brother, plus being active in sports, started pulling me out of my comfort zone. Albert Bandura's social cognitive theory explains this so well. He believed that we learned by watching others, and I feel like that's exactly what I did. I observed the way my brothers acted and how they navigated friendships and picked up on that. High school marked another major turning point for me, one that I would like to call the era of balance. This is when I really just started putting all the different parts of myself into one identity. I didn't feel like I had to choose between being the sporty girl or the girly girl. I realized I could be all of it, and that realization really started to show my social life. I had friends from all types of circles. I could show up as whoever I wanted that day and still feel accepted. That flexibility in my social life helped me feel really seen in different ways. I didn't feel boxed in. Going to 4 different schools throughout my time in elementary and high school allowed me to observe and adapt my behavior. Carl Jung's theory really captures what this chapter of my life was all about. He believed that the real personal growth happens when we accept and integrate all parts of ourselves, even the ones that don't seem to fit at first. But that's exactly what I was learning to do, allowing every version of Lauren to show up and exist. College was where I truly figured out what it meant to live for myself by myself. I left home to attend a school to play volleyball. But once I got there, I realized that wasn't for me. I was always around volleyball or my teammates. We always had things to do throughout the day. It was very time consuming. It was always team lift, team practice, individual practice, film, team dinners. It was always something, and it just wasn't what I want my college experience to be. But being on the volleyball team helped me in so many ways that I didn't even realize. It was easier to socialize and find a place, but even with that, I still started to feel a shift within me. Over time, I realized that dedicating my college experience to volleyball wasn't what I wanted. I was living a life that looked good on the outside, but didn't feel right on the inside. So I made the bold choice to transfer to North Carolina Central University. And honestly, it was another shock, but in a good way. NCCU challenged me to rediscover and affirm my identity. Without the built-in social environments of sports, I found myself more introverted. Making connections didn't come as easy anymore, and I had to step out of my comfort zone. To avoid social interactions, I started becoming more introverted. I typically worked 5 days a week just to stay busy. Taking the ENFG personality test has helped me reflect on the growth. The results describe me as empathetic and leadership orientated, things I've always known about myself, but I was surprised to see that the extroversion score was very high. I've always seen myself as more introverted, especially in recent years. According to Carl Rogers' humanistic theory, the path to self actualization isn't linear. It's about becoming more in tune with your real self. In this stage of life, stepping out on your own, making choices that aligns with your values. Still in those moments, I know I couldn't sit in that feeling for too long. I was overwhelmed working myself to death. I felt like I needed change. I learned to take action, reflect, and choose growth. Once I finally allowed myself to slow down and simply be, I began to experience real growth. I stopped pouring all my energy into just one thing, whether it was volleyball or constantly working, and instead started exploring different interests. I gave myself permission to just live. That meant traveling, deepening my relationship with the Lord, trying out modeling, and stepping into leadership roles that genuinely excited me. By stepping outside of my comfort zone and moving with intention, I found myself forming meaningful connections and building friendships through each and every experience. Every interest I pursued brought new people and new lessons into my life, and that's where I found the most transformation. According to Maslow's final stage of self-actualization, my assessment revealed that I am above average when it comes to fulfillment. This resonates with me because I feel like I've been growing into the most complete version of myself by aligning my life with values and passions that I feel like is best for me. Reflecting on my journey throughout the years, from being a daddy's girl, embracing my love for art and self-expression, to being a tomboy, discovering myself physically and socially, to a college student defining life through individualism, I see each chapter as a part of my identity. Every stage has shaped the person I am today, and through it all, I've continued to grow into the most authentic version of myself.